Hello, I'm Lisa Urquhart, editor of Vantage. I'm here today with Amy Brown, senior reporter for Vantage, to discuss Vantage's 2020 preview of the pharma and biotech sectors. So, Amy, the report obviously has a lot of analysis about pipelines, M&A deals, and that. So, is there anything we're looking for in terms of the pipeline in 2020 that perhaps people aren't looking at, outside of the sort of more high-profile projects?
Well, we had a look to see what will be the biggest approvals next year. The project that stood out here was AstraZeneca and Daiichi's anti-HER2 antibody drug conjugate. That's up for approval, I think, in February time. 2024 sales forecasts for that were already topping 2 billion. That's Evaluate Pharma's sales side consensus. We also used a R&D cost module to dig out the research projects that are really consuming a lot of cash. This threw up an under-the-radar heart attack therapy from CSL, the Australian blood product company, and also a Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis project that is now owned by Takeda. That is an expensive program, and they have to sell that as part of the Shire takeover to settle the antitrust concerns, so that could be a big deal to look out for next year.
One of the big events on the horizon for 2020 is going to be the US presidential elections. What do you think the ramifications are going to be for the financial and investor sectors in particular?
Everybody I spoke to said that it's going to be harder to float next year. This could be particularly difficult for venture firms that are supporting some very highly valued portfolio companies. We are also going to see some companies that raised some very big Series A financing rounds in the last couple of years try to refinance next year. Some of these companies are still very early stage, some of them are preclinical, have very big valuations. How that is going to work out if IPOs are off the table is quite a big concern.
We've only covered a fraction of perhaps some of the things that are in the report. So Amy, is there anything else that caught your eye that you'd like to share with us?
I guess one analysis that really stood out for me was a look at what's driving the sector's top line growth. We're projecting 50 billion in new sales next year for the biopharma sector as a whole. That's driven by areas that you would expect, checkpoint inhibition, new diabetes mechanisms, but we're also seeing some rare disease categories really adding to that top line now. Cystic fibrosis, spinal muscular atrophy, 1 billion sales in new sales each for those areas next year. And then on the flip side, you have huge areas, the anti-TNFs, the anti-VEGFs. There's biosimilars for a lot of these projects now, but the top line sales, they're not acting as a big brake on the sector. And to me, this kind of illustrates exactly why a lot of the sector is under fire at the moment. On one hand, we're saying, let's charge very high prices for these highly innovative and groundbreaking therapies. But on the other side, a lot of biopharma companies are doing everything they can to protect those elderly franchises, which really smacks of having your cake and eating it.
We've only really just briefly scratched the surface of all the analysis in the report. So if you'd like to know more, feel free to download it here.